start with the allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And my phone ding, so I better get the airplane mode, sorry. Didn't know it was even on.
I should have cleaned those glasses.
All right,
Dear.
public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Anybody in the room?
There's no one in the room. Is anybody on Zoom that wants to make public comment? Anyone on Zoom that wants to make public comment? Hearing none, let's move on to agenda items. Administrative items. Approval of the minutes. Does the other commissioners have a chance to go through the minutes?
Sir. Yes, and I don't have any changes and I will make a motion to approve them as written. I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded, although, well, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Review of monthly budget report.
Scott this minute. His first minute.
Do
The drum roll.
You don't get it, yeah. Whatever. Okay.
Review of budget report and approval of vouchers.
Okay, so the first thing in the packet is the answer to last month's question about miscellaneous income.
Yeah, that's what, I thought that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always interesting to go back and look. So the first two in 2025 were reimbursements from the rail operator because he was required to pay half the appraisal. So that's miscellaneous income according to the bars code. And then in the April one, that was where the county had asked if they could, if we could help them string fiber between the courthouse and the new building that they had purchased. So that was just a pass through. We paid 0dB to do the work and then the county reimbursed us. So that's where that 19,000 came from. The fourth line item was the BEAD grant. I told Tracy we probably should have put that in grants, not miscellaneous, but this was money from the Washington Association of Counties that they granted to each of the counties in the state to do research on being prepared for putting in a BEAD application. BEAD is that the trying to extend internet to the rural areas. Yeah, can't think of what it stands for. The the 775 in October was some of the sesquicentennial merchandise that we had sold during the event. And then in November, we got money from the task force to help pay for the mural that was painted in downtown. So that was also a pass through that just went to the mural painter. And this year in January, our first one was we had asked the county had pledged money, I'm sorry, to help pay for the sesquicentennial. So it just took a while for us to get them to pay us. So that was the reimbursement for that.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. And then in the voucher approval sheet, I will tell you any unusual expenses. I don't know if any of them were really unusual, but we did pay some extra funds to Blue Mountain Irrigation and Landscape they've been doing a lot of brush trimming, tree thinning, and cleanup down at Blue Mountain Station. Some of those.
They're full.
Yep, and his trailer's been full multiple times. Yeah, the trees really did need to be thinned. And then I will tell you later about a butterfly pollinator garden idea. One of the things we paid him for was to reconfigure the irrigation in the garden that would help with that project, and I'll tell you more about it later. Bow Designs, which is a replacement for a lost check. Columbia County Public Health, we have to pay the health department once a year for what is called a food establishment permit for the commercial kitchen.
Sure.
that allows people to use it and it's properly permitted. Crown paper and janitorial, that's not an unusual one, but just so you know, that is for supplies for the bathrooms at Blue Mountain Station and then the USDA building that we have a full service contract on, so we have to buy those supplies for them. CSD Attorneys at Law, I've consulted with them a little bit about the rail lease renewal, so that was a bill from a short conversation we had for $108.
Those dang attorneys.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
yard attorneys.
They just want to be paid for their work.
Yeah.
How rude.
Dayton Electric was fixing a light at Sweet Bee at Blue Mountain Station, the security light. Let's see, MBG cleaning was a little bit larger than usual because we have to have the carpets cleaned at the USDA office once a year, or is it 2 years? Where they clean the whole building so that we meet their inspection requirements every 2 years, so then we had to pay extra this month to have those cleaned. Rock Hill Concrete, we did a gravel refresh in a portion of the industrial park, especially down by Columbia County Transit. They had a lot of areas where the gravel had kind of disappeared and sunk. So we didn't do any grading, we just had the concrete company come and spread gravel, and it looks good there. And then we did it in front of, where else did we do it? In
USDA
front of the USDA building.
and CHS.
And then in front of CHS, yeah. And then Bidwell Union Bulletin, that was the visitor's guide ad for the year. So those are just some that I thought might interest you, but I'd be happy to answer any questions on that list if you have any.
Yeah, number 14006, the PUS Delta After School Studies.
Oh, yeah. We
What's
should
that?
have brought that to your attention. We've paid that every year. That's the club. We have the contract with the club for workforce development. They just have a funny name.
Yeah.
So they send us a report each year and then we make that contribution. And that is, the auditor looks at the report and makes sure that everything is on the up and up. So. Yes, any other questions?
Just one, and maybe just of since I'm new,
Mm-hmm.
the Artisan Food Center, this is the rental, the income side of it.
Oh, on the report?
On the report.
Okay,
So in January, it was 4277, and in February, it's 1113. Is that because we're not through the month yet? Or
it's
is that?
partly because we're not through the month.
Okay.
And also the rent, we have some steady rents in the small bays where the businesses rent them. But then also the kitchen rental fluctuates depending on how many people use it. So that is a combination of the two. But I would say the 4277 seems hot, like a high month.
Well, we had a holiday or
A
whatever.
lot of users, a lot of kitchen users, yeah, a lot of kitchen.
Holiday stuff.
Yes, we did. There were holiday markets and, so yeah, that's what that is, Scott.
Yes, you answered.
And so February is, yeah, you can't consider February complete on the income side, but you can on the expense side because we only pay bills once a month, so. And it seemed like a pretty typical month. Any other questions on the budget report?
I don't have none.
So let's move on to leases.
We don't have any leases this month to sign. We will
Okay.
next month,
Okay.
but we do have one to discuss on the next line item.
Okay, let's move on to it.
So Grad Rubenser Driving School has rented the space next to this room for, I don't even know, I've been here 18 years and they were already here when I got here. But we have toyed with the idea of taking that space to make the conference room bigger, so that this could be a better meeting room. But we have not talked to them about it yet. We do have a space down at the co-working building that they could lease, but it would be more money. They've had this has been a very, advantageous for them to be here because there's no utility payments or anything. The space down there, they also have increased what they're doing. They're not just doing driving school for youth anymore. They're also acting a little bit like a driver's DOL, the Department of Licensing. So people come in and do driver's tests and do other things. So it's created a lot more traffic here. But anyway, I didn't want to say a word to them until I talked to you guys about what you would think about us trying to see if they would move to a different building and be willing to pay more rent. And then we could do a remodel and have a bigger conference room.
I think it's a great idea to get rid of this wall and have a bigger room, but not always, obviously, look at tonight, but
Right,
some
Right.
nights we have been people in the offices and in the hall and
yeah,
and I don't want to drive them out of business
I sure don't either.
because it's a very needed service in our community.
Mhm.
So I would be willing to say that we bend our per foot lease rate as a more of a public service to keep the driving school local.
Are you still, that way we could claim this space?
Claim this space and have them move to the other space. But that's just,
This would make a nice conference room.
Yeah, and it wouldn't just be for our meetings, it'd be for other meetings, yeah. Yeah, but again, I do not want to disrupt their business, so
No.
this would have to be a mutual decision.
Yeah.
I didn't want to start the discussion until I heard what you guys think.
The last time I checked, they are the only in-person driving school. I think Walla Walla, Columbia, Garfield. And maybe there's one in Clarkston, but
Yeah.
we've got kids that have been coming from distances because it's the only one.
Yeah. no, that's why I want to keep them.
Is the other facility, I mean, similar, resort,
Much bigger,
much bigger?
yeah. Which I would think maybe they would like. It is the co-working building, so what it would have would be shared bathroom that still, we have it cleaned, so they still wouldn't have to take care of a bathroom. Shared utilities, which is built into the rent. There's internet already down there, so that'd be part of the rent. It's the former space that Jordan Henderson had his art studio. So it's a longer room. It's not carpeted. I don't know if they would want carpet or not, but it would give them much more room to have their classes. But also still access to the kitchenette, the bathrooms, and even a conference area if they wanted it, because any renters in the co-working can use the common areas. So it's still a good, it would be a good fit for them because they don't have to then suddenly take on janitorial and all this other stuff. But it's just a much larger space, and this has been a very
And
low
parking's
price.
okay and.
Parking's great,
in and
yep.
out.
Yep, parking is good, yep. Of course, people would have to find it,
Sure.
but yeah, and I, yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I guess we could see what they think about the space first, and then we could maybe negotiate price with them, but I just didn't even want to start it unless I thought we were thinking it would be okay to remodel.
What's the difference in
Well, it's probably $300 a month right now,
Difference?
yeah, unless we gave them a little bit of a price break.
and then what's the impact of daily operations for you guys as port staff while they're here and all those things? What's the impact that makes?
It's just traffic.
Traffic?
Traffic, cleaning, we have to shut our door often because of all the people coming in and out of their space. But like I said, that's less about the classes with the youth as it is this newer service they're
Mhm.
providing. But it's not that we hate it. That's not it at all.
No.
No,
But it-
no, it
It
is traffic.
does
Yeah.
interrupt because they come in and they don't know, they come right into our office and say, I'm here for driving school.
Mhm.
They're like, it's next door, nobody's there, you're gonna have to call them. I mean, so we have to do, it does it
We're like there's.
secretaries. Yeah. so-
I know you're not complaining about, but it's always things to look at. What's the impact, daily impact of what?
Yeah, and that
currently
that
operate.
has increased a lot because of them increasing their traffic.
And then what is the cost differential, and we've got that, so I guess my thing would be one, I think it's a critical function, especially out here where we're at. I think it's a critical function for a service, for sure. And then I would definitely, it'd be worth having a conversation with them. If we haven't had that conversation, and if they have no idea, maybe they might be more up to it than we are up to having the conversation.
Could
So,
be. Mhm.
they, you show them and this and that, so it might actually work better for them because there's an option, and at the time they moved in, there may have not been that option, right?
Mhm.
And if they have that more traffic that's coming in, maybe there's a better opportunity that they can be able to sustain what that lease would be for, because of the more traffic, all of that stuff. I don't know the details of it. It's not my wheelhouse, but I would definitely reach out to the owners of that and have a conversation, in my opinion, to see, hey, what are their thoughts, right?
Okay.
If they feel like, man, that's just really gonna be it, then we can have some more discussion and figure out, because I really think it is a critical function, but if we have an option to be able to do that and they're up for it, it might be a good opportunity.
Okay,
I concur.
very good. We
All right.
will have that conversation. Thank you.
All right. What's next?
Okay, your WPPA meeting schedule that I sent out.
Yes.
Not expecting anybody to make decisions at this moment, but I just thought since Scott was new, that I would pull that, this is all from the WPPA website. But I just thought I'd pull it together, and so you would see what's coming up and maybe could plan to attend one. Maybe one, if you chose one for the year, that would be
I know,
plenty or more if you want,
I
whatever.
learned a lot at the small ports,
Mhm.
and I attended one other, and I can't remember.
You
what
went
it
to the spring meeting with
Spring,
Stephen Spokane, yeah.
It was good.
Mhm.
Can you get him to change the date for October 22nd to like July something or whatever? Up in Chelan.
I would encourage.
Yeah, I
other-
know, I know.
Other commissioners that attend one this coming year, if you can.
Oh, I'd like to. Absolutely.
They're very informational, and the networking is well worth it. And I hope to be able to attend the small ports this year.
One of the reasons I wanted to put this in front of you is that when they'll send us an email and it'll say, registration is open for the spring meeting. Get your hotel room. And if you don't do it, their room
It's
blocks
all-
get sold out.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't tell you how many times I've been aced out because I wasn't paying attention. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to put it out ahead of time. There are some ports that send all their commissioners to every conference. I don't know how in the world. Number one, I don't know how they afford it. And number two, I don't know how they afford the time, at least for us. I can't go to every conference. I don't have enough time, but they are very well attended by ports. So you can look at this, and we will be sure and let you know when it's time, when the registration comes out for one of them, and you can let me know if you want to go. And
No,
I'll
it's
tell you
fine.
whether I'm going. It's okay.
This is on us, right? To
No,
go
no.
To these,
Pays. The port pays, yeah, I mean, yes, you have to. The port pays for your lodging and your meals and your registration.
oh, okay.
That's why I said I don't know how some ports afford it.
Yeah.
If they all went, you
The
know,
registration's expensive. I know hotel rooms are.
yes, they are,
They're
yeah.
up there.
I've complained, but, I've told them that some of the. Like spring meeting prices are getting to be even beyond our reach. But they were very receptive to my complaint and felt bad about it, but they said that hotel rates have gone up so much for the catering services and the meeting room services. They have to pass it on, so. Yep,
Thank you.
okay,
All right. discuss potential agenda items for intergovernmental meetings.
Yeah, so this was just me brainstorming, because I know if I approach the governments, they're going to ask, what would we talk about? So I thought maybe we could go through them together and you could tell me some of your thoughts. I will tell you that my lodging tax advisory committee thing I put on here, I looked up the RCW and that is only for communities of 5,000 or more, so that is not a requirement, so we could take that one off, both of them. I thought it was a requirement, I think it was when I was at the chamber, but I think that they've
Oh.
changed it, yeah. We used to have a committee that had hotels on it and retail and, you know, because they want the people that are paying the lodging tax to have a say in the spending, but anyway, these are just some of my ideas, but I am totally open to whatever you guys are thinking.
So, I was thinking as far as from the city standpoint, a couple things. One, I have a feeling that maybe the entities would like to meet with us as much as we want to meet with them. You know, to see what they may feel, what the port can do for them, or what they'd like to see the port do. And I think it'd be great to see that again, getting together and just kind of seeing what's happening with everybody. I'd love to see the city reinstate their Affordable Housing Commission. I think that's, you guys have talked about that over the last couple of years that I've been in the audience, and I was on the Affordable Housing Commission when Megan was here, and it was, we were making headway, and after she left, it just fell apart, but
Okay,
really, really, really worthwhile,
okay,
really worthwhile.
got it. One thing I added after I sent this out that came to my head was, the idea of a pocket park where the old Eagles building is.
Yeah.
If that could maybe be brainstormed, if maybe the city would wanna own the parcel and have a pocket
Pocket
park,
park.
or I just thought maybe that was an
They're
idea.
very popular. You
Yes.
go downtown, Walla Walla, the
Mhm.
big one up on the east side of Main Street
Mhm.
is quite popular.
Mm-hmm,
It's beautiful.
and Pomeroy's is really cute too.
Yeah. It is.
Mhm.
I was listening to that park. I was listening to Janelle McCoy the other day in an economic committee meeting, or an economic meeting that I was attending via Zoom, and she talked about that park and how they put it out there, and there were a lot of people that didn't like it, just didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
So they changed it to whatever their ideas were, and some didn't like that. And now it's to the point, she says, it is so popular. It's just, people just love it. So it kind of morphed. And
Yeah,
now
yeah, they did a big
and now
redo on
it's
it,
just
yeah,
like, people love it.
yeah.
And I know Shane had a suggestion that we do more like a quarterly 4 quarters that involves.
Yeah, he mentioned that they used to do that in Walla, yeah.
And invite everybody, so it's only less meetings, I guess, is.
Does that interest you?
Sure,
Okay.
but coordinating it is a challenge and a half.
I like the approach. I think that's, to me, I just think it's great. The more we can all get together and share ideas and
Yeah.
the better it's gonna be. There's no question about it. More successful one.
Yeah, I would say, at the most quarterly, or it's my schedule on those, and then, these are mandatory for us. And then if we have those, that they would not necessarily be mandatory if things come up, but make sure that we represent, that's the representation there at that. That would be my request on those additional meetings.
I don't disagree.
I don't either.
No reason to have a meeting if we aren't gonna be there.
Do you think it should be quarterly, or do you think we should just try for a couple of times a year?
I like the quarterly idea, and if we get to a point where we can't come up with enough agenda items, which then
Then
maybe
they go,
but
maybe annual.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how it would
Okay,
roll.
I think maybe just have a first meeting.
I would say pilot it and have a
There you go.
conversation with,
that idea
With
better than
the-
proposing quarterly.
with the other entities.
Yeah.
Cause we're not driving the car,
No.
we're just passengers on the bus.
Exactly.
So I wanna make sure that,
If they're like, we gotta meet quarterly, then maybe that's where we go, but if we have an initial meeting,
To discuss whether or not it's going to be
Going to be-
valuable.
yeah, if it's not valuable, let's not do
Because there are other avenues to discuss the same topic.
Yeah.
We could go to their meetings. You can go to, I mean,
it.
they're not closed.
No,
So,
you can even get on their agendas.
mhm. So I think pilot it. And see what the interest is and whether or not, even having a conversation with, maybe reaching out to them, saying, we're thinking about this.
Okay.
Let's have one if we
Yeah,
want.
yeah, I think
And
that's the
then
first
go from
step
there.
is to have the conversation, Jenny, and see if they're interested.
I agree.
Mhm.
Okay, and Mike, when Mike and I had met in between meetings, he had suggested that I do the outreach. So is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
I would say that would be appropriate.
Appropriate, yeah, you're
Yeah.
the CEO of
okay.
the port.
That and, you've got your fingers in all kinds of things out there in the community,
Yes,
so, it's a good resource for that.
Okay, are there any other subject items that you have thought of, or you can always tell me afterwards, but I couldn't come up with much for the health system other than, funding for rural hospitals, which we do. So if you have any thoughts there, I just couldn't really think of anything.
Well,
that came to my head.
I think Shane mentioned it at the EDSC meeting, or maybe it was this last one, the one before, but what we can do or what anybody in the community can do as far as to our legislative people, let them know the concerns we have with, we can maybe make a better statement as a group, because they need that so bad.
Mhm. Okay,
That hospital, anything happens there, so.
okay. Yes,
All right.
all right, thank you.
Move on to update of port on port assets.
You skipped the meeting thing, the notification.
Oh, I thought
Yes.
that's what we were,
No.
oh,
This one. So, after the last steering committee meeting, it dawned on us that both of you were in attendance at the Economic Development Steering Committee. So we reached out to the Port of Walla Walla because they have a meeting and their commissioners go, and she said, what do you do? And they said they notice their newspaper every month. But they just do, when you're having a special meeting, you only have to give 24 hours notice. So all they're doing is sending them an email and telling them that there's a meeting coming that commissioners are going to, may attend. But they also said the other way you can do it is to just adopt it in the meeting schedule. And so I thought, why not just change it so we have both Port Commission and the steering committee meetings on our list. It'll be on our website. Everybody can see the meetings that you would
And then
potentially
EDSC
be
meetings
attending.
are open to the public as well,
Correct,
so.
yes. So what do you think? Okay, so I would like a motion to adopt this though, so it's in the minutes and the formal. Please, or
So
Might do
the
that.
port, am I correct? You've already approved the port
We
commission
did,
meetings.
yeah.
So you're just looking for, okay, so I'd make a motion to approve the economic development steering committee meetings for 2026. The schedule is presented.
We'll second that motion.
under discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, sorry, I
It's okay.
didn't mean to skip it.
That's the only mistake you get tonight.
Okay, oh, I better leave now. All right, update on port assets.
All right, good news and bad news this month. In the Rock Hill Industrial Park, the good news is we had our annual GSA inspection and it went very well. There were only a couple of very small items, some, cove base peeling off the wall and a door that needed a better seal and, that's it. And we've already had them repaired, so the best one yet. So that was very exciting. The bad news is that, Ace Automotive is closing.
For sure.
So, for sure, yeah, he's selling equipment. So, we'll talk more about the economy later in the meeting, but it's partly due to economic downturn, but, and he also expressed, that he experienced a fair amount of, customers here that didn't want to do business with him because of his ethnicity. So
Where am I gonna take my cars to?
I don't know, because Robert's, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
Anyway,
sorry.
so, it's very unfortunate. We're sad to see him go. He worked for Jay for 10 years, wonderful kid.
Yeah.
But, it's a crossroads in his life and a decision he needed to make, so. I don't know if he'll be out by the end of February or March. He did ask to be let out of his lease, and I said, of course, I said yes. I did not want to harm the individual for not being able to stay. So, yeah, so that's sad. So we're gonna have a building open. You know, haven't had any buildings open for a while, so we're gonna have a building open here in a month or two.
Okay,
It is a very interesting building to try to rent, giant manufacturing space. This was the building designed for bumper crop, if you remember that, Scott. And so it has a lot of office space, much more office space than most of our industrial buildings have, which is not attractive necessarily to the tenants. So, we'll have to see how it goes. It was empty quite a while before. Well, transportation had been in there for a while, but then there was a big gap between them and when Jay's Garage was there, because it's just a little bit of a tough one to rent.
Could be modified, I'm assuming.
I suppose, but you really can't go backwards from the offices. So somebody doesn't necessarily have to use all the offices, but there's just way more, and there's a whole upstairs. Cause it was designed for, food manufacturing, so it's actually quite interesting. There are double doors that open from the upper story into the big manufacturing area, so you could use a forklift. That's how, both Jay and Andre stored everybody's, tires.
Tires, right.
Roll them up, put them up on because that's a very, fortified upper story. It's, has a good weight load rating because it was designed for the food processing. It's just a lot of space, you know, it's a lot of office space that isn't. But yeah, it can absolutely be, repurposed to a certain degree. The offices are in decent shape, at least they were last time I looked. Might have to do some painting, but the flooring has all been in good shape, and we'll just have to see what it looks like after having a tenant for a long time, so. Yeah, so we'll be working on that one, and that's all I have for the industrial park. We already told you about the gravel work, and that we didn't have any other, maintenance, I don't think, this month. Can you think of any, Tracy? Okay. Yeah, that's it there.
okay, Lions Ferry Marina.
Okay, so, I met with the concessionaire with Joanne, and, we talked about this season a little bit and how she's gonna manage things. I turned in a progress report to the RCO on this project, on the pull-through project. And then we turned in the real estate application to the Corps of Engineers. That's a big deal. It's kind of like a SEPA, almost like an environmental document, because they just kind of take precedence over any other department. So this is a form in which we tell them what we're going to do. We tell them the environmental impacts it might have or won't have, tell them about the construction, where it will be, things will be staged, whether or not the water will be affected, all of that stuff. So that was a big deal. Anderson Perry helped with that. So that is turned in. The cultural resources study is not done yet, but it should be done by the end of February. Then we turn that into the RCO and we wait for them to review it. So this is not expected to be constructed, I don't think, until fall, if we can get through all of these other hurdles in time, but it probably construction wouldn't start till fall. Anyway, it's going now, making good progress.
Cool.
And then the second part, I just wanted to bring up that we have discussed that the next thing we wanted to do out there was get the boat launch fixed up and maybe expanded, fix the walkway and fix that sea moorage, because that's the one that wants to fall into the river. And so the recommendation from the RCO was to apply for planning funds, because if we are going to work in the water, we have to have a permit from the Corps to drive pilings, which can take up to 2 years to get. So their recommendation was to apply for planning funding, get the money, do the plan. Then in 2 years, we'd be ready to apply for the money to do the work. So the planning grant is due this fall. So I just wanted to bring that up so you would know that these RCO grants are big. So I will have to commit time to the application to turn it in. I think it's November that it's due. So is that still sound like a good direction to everybody for the next thing we want to do out there?
Definitely on the list to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it comes with the governmental red tape. And if we don't start it now, we're gonna be having the same conversations, which is gonna just put us 2 years behind
Yeah.
where we are today.
Okay,
I agree.
I will start there. They have seminars and things you can, or webinars you can attend before you apply. So I'll start that process. And I think that's it for the marina.
All right, Blue Mountain Station.
More bad news at Blue Mountain Station. I guess the good news first, I met just before the meeting, I met today with the investment company that Phil is using to raise funds for his business. So we met down at Blue Mountain Station. It was a lovely lady from Colorado. So that was nice. He seems to be making progress in that area. So that's good news. And we have restarted work on the project. We've met with the architect again and probably gonna start on construction documents within the next few weeks. Even though Phil doesn't have the money yet, we need to be kind of doing these things concurrently. There's a certain distance we can go with construction documents before he has the money, and then we'll have to just wait and see how it lines up. The other good news is, I serve on a board called the Washington Economic Development Finance Authority. They are a conduit for bond funding through the state of Washington. And Mainstem Malt has applied, they had qualified for tax exempt bond funds as a small manufacturer.
Wow.
So they actually were, I had to recuse myself, I could not vote, but they were on the last month's agenda, last meeting's agenda, and WEDFA did vote to move forward with starting the process of being the conduit for those bond funds. So that was very, very good news,
Yeah.
very big news. Getting a tax exempt bond would help him financially as well. So that was all very good progress with Mainstem Malt. So depending on how that one goes, because this other firm I met with is the equity funding. So the bond fund is the debt financing and then the equity financing. So if he gets the debt financing completed, we can move forward with construction while he works on the rest of it.
And his timeline was this fall also, or starting in, is that
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully. And it's gonna depend more on whether he has the financing lined up. We are in position to be ready for that, yeah. Bad news is that Cedar Rain has closed and filed for personal and business bankruptcy. So they've closed here at the Port of Walla Walla and downtown Walla Walla. And I don't know that they owe us money, and I don't know that we're going to see it. I've discussed it with Kim, and chances are we will not be high on the list of getting some of our back rent. They made a payment very recently to us, so. But we're still
In the rears.
disappointed that
Yeah.
it turned out this way. It's only happened to me about 3 times in my 18 years here, but here we are. Yeah.
Any other news at the Blue Mountain Station?
No, all the spaces are rented down there, so things are going well in the kitchen. I'm just gonna have building number 2 available now, which I've been trying to get the pasta company to come. So now it's gonna be me, kind of the rubber meets the road now.
Yeah.
It's empty. Are you coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Because they knew it wasn't empty, so this fits in with the timeline, and I will push to see if they're gonna come or not. And if they're not, we have another local startup we've been working with, a grain related business actually a legume related business. With some local farmers that have been trying to put together, so they would be choice number 2. And then if for some reason they don't want to move forward, then we would put it out for lease, start marketing it.
Super.
I actually already put it on the website.
Just in case. Okay, good job, Tracy. That's okay. It never hurts to have it out there.
Right.
Good girl. Did we have a spec sheet and everything already?
Not really, I just said call Shane.
Good. We will work on updating that.
All right,
Okay.
CWW Railroad.
Okay, well, I've spoken with Stuart twice this month, and he said that the reason we hadn't heard back was that Paul was just very busy. There was no other reason. He did call me tonight and say that Paul sent him an email and said, here are my thoughts on the port's proposal. And it was attached and there was nothing in the document. It was the wrong attachment. So he said he would call Paul tomorrow and try to follow through with that and get back to me and make sure things are continuing to move. But the second thing we discussed was your desire to tour the railroad.
Yeah.
So, he said that we've got a couple of different choices. If we go by high rail, we can't fit as many people in a vehicle, so it would have to be separate trips or separate vehicles. But it would be faster. It would take probably 4 hours to do the whole thing, and that's not counting stops if we wanted to stop and look or talk or go to the bathroom. Or we could use the caboose or the passenger car, the Lincoln car, which I've ridden on. It's pretty sweet. That everyone could go if it was the passenger car. And it has a bathroom. It would take about 5 hours without stops. So I told him, and we would not do this until it was a little warmer, a little nicer, so we could get out and look at things without it being cold. But I told them I would run it by you and see what you would prefer for your designated railroad tour.
I think it makes more sense to do, since he's offering the passenger car. That, how do we have an open public meeting in a crew cab?
Yeah. Just be a tour, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has to be noticed, yeah.
I agree. I think that makes the most sense. As far as people that would be there, it would be, it's gonna be an open meeting, so are you thinking certainly the commissioners and the staff and like, is there other people that would be on there?
It wouldn't, I wasn't thinking so,
Okay.
no, this is a tour, we're allowed to do tours
Okay.
that the public isn't
Okay,
invited on.
okay. Would it be something that you would invite, somebody that could give us an idea as far as repair type work or give consultation kind of a thing or not?
We already have a whole
We have a sheet,
gamut.
yeah, we could ask them though, we could ask if they could have Garrett join us. Garrett is their, Dan Garrett is their track guy, who's very good. We could see if he would go on a tour with us if we wanted to.
Just ask questions and explain, this is what this means, and this is why we have issues, and
Yeah, they would probably know, most of the rail guys would probably know, but we could ask if Dan wanted to go.
I just think it would make sense to, I don't wanna say expedite, but at least, kind of give us an
Highlight what we
idea.
don't know.
Yeah, what we don't know and what we might need to be working towards. Yeah,
Okay,
I agree.
do you have, so the other thing too, do you have the packet, the railroad packets that we put together? Does he have a copy of that, or is it?
our website,
Yeah.
but we could print one out if you would want us
There's a
to.
lot of that, there's a lot of information that we have done over the last
Yeah.
4 years on this.
I
Assessments and
I could bring
condition.
my packet to you and you could give it to Scott.
There's stuff I can print off on
It's
it's
big,
this the one where you had put all the information?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
It's like
I got that.
Plus, we have others,
yeah,
there's a whole
well,
bunch.
there were 300 pages of
Yeah.
attachments, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, I didn't get the attachments, but I did get some of the.
Well, they were online, but they weren't.
Yeah.
I hope nobody printed 300 pages.
There's
If
still-
you want, we printed them for the commissioners, so if you want a set, we can print a set.
I have a binder.
Okay.
And I would. Give it
Okay.
to Jenny and
Okay.
she could give it to you. I mean.
Which might catch you up on some of the stuff in the last couple of years, assessments and where we're at and where's the big spots in cost and value and all the other stuff that we've already went through. But it would be nice if, I guess, if we had a technician
Yeah.
Yeah,
on board
makes sense.
to
Mhm.
be able to ask those questions as well.
If Paul wants to go, he knows, but if he doesn't, then we could ask, make sure Dan goes, if they would send Dan. Or somebody who knows.
Garrett?
Dan Garrett is his
Oh,
name, yeah. I called him Garrett, but it's Dan Garrett, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of those people with a first and last name.
That are
It can
the
be
same.
Yes, or it can be a first or last name.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, I think that's all I have there. The train is running though, we've been hearing it come through town.
I've seen it.
So what do you think as far as a timeline on that?
Well, I don't know, what do you guys think?
Spring would be great.
Like, late April, May?
Yeah, I would think.
Mine would be definitely in at least middle of May and beyond.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah, I mean, middle of May, probably be pretty safe
Okay.
bet.
I will shoot for that.
That's for me. I mean, don't,
No, you
don't
don't
make
make
concessions.
No, you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just here in about a week and then to the middle of May. My schedule.
Is when you're really gone a lot, okay.
Yeah, and I just don't know when that, and I don't wanna have to have people juggle around that.
Okay.
We can, if it's the only option. It's not up to table, just let me know.
We wanted to do it until it got a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
Sounded like to me. I mean, they probably do it whenever we want, but that when I asked them, when are you thinking, they said later in the spring.
May would work great.
Okay, very good.
Okay, broadband.
Okay, we prepared and advertised the RFP for fiber supplies. So I did include this in the packet for Scott's edification. This is a project with federal funds, so normally in a construction project, we would not put out an RFP for supplies like this. It wouldn't have to be this formal, but it does because of the federal funding. And this is an RFP rather than a request for quotes because price isn't the only determining factor. This project has to be done by October 31st. So they have to be able to get us the materials by June 1st. That is, in fact, if you look at the evaluation factors, lead time is one of the evaluation factors. So we have sent this, it'll be in the newspaper tomorrow, paper of record tomorrow and the following week. Federal rules require we advertise for 2 weeks and that the bid be due no sooner than 14 days after the last date of advertising. So we have them due on March 5th. We will review the materials list and the RFP. And Calvin from Petrichor will assist me and we will go through them. And what we did last time is we didn't just choose one provider for all the supplies. We chose whichever the best price and the best lead time in each section of materials. And so we had ended up getting materials from 4 different companies. They also are supposed to be made in America if at all possible. Which last time we were able to find fiber that was made in North Carolina. So it's kind of a big deal to be able to get it American. It doesn't have to be, but we have to do our very, very best to try to have it be a domestic manufacturer. So we will do that and then we will, in your Friday packet, we will have these guys have seen it, so they know, but I'll have a spreadsheet with the respondents and a scoring rubric for how they were scored and our recommendations for who we want you to approve, but then I want you to be the approvers of the of who we enter into contracts with. Make sense? Okay. Very good.
All right. Is there any other information?
Oh. We are preparing the underground drop letter. There will be some underground drops to homes in Starbuck. So we went through this before with Dayton and Tushy Valley. We send letters to households, letting them know that it is optional, but if they want the service or even just a drop, that if they sign this waiver and get back to us, that we can do it as part of the project at no cost to them. We need the waiver because the call before you dig system does not work on private property. So we need a waiver from them in case we dig up a irrigation line or something. They are supposed to try to tell us where everything is, but of course it never works perfectly. So that's what the waiver is about. And then we can install the drops. And I'm telling you this because this is a typical thing that would be out in the public that somebody might come up to you and say, why is the port talking about wanting to dig up my yard? You need to know why, and that it is optional. Nobody has
You
to do
don't have
it.
to.
No, nobody has to do it, so. But it's smart to do it, because then if you want that internet, you've got the conduit, so, okay.
Cool.
That's it, that's all I've got. Oh, one more, working with Northwest Grain Growers to get fiber to their seed plant. It's not related to this particular project, but they really want fiber, has to go over the railroad track. It is going to be, they are gonna pay for it, but it's gonna be a little bit of a project. So we have got Petrichor and Zero DB getting us a quote right now that we will then share with Northwest Grain Growers, and if they're willing, we'll do the work and they'll pay us. Another one of those things where we get the miscellaneous funds. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, that's it.
All right. Community and economic development.
Okay, so let's see what I have over here. Shane is not with us, unfortunately. So, my quick report before we talk about some of the handouts, I signed an engagement letter with Patton and Associates for preparation of our annual report certification. So this is the accounting firm, Scott, that goes through our QuickBooks, and we give him information on our grants and programs. He compiles it all into an annual report. I showed you one once. And then we have, by May 30th, that information has to be submitted to the state through the Department of, or the auditor's website. So I do the submission after he has done the report. So Tracy does a lot of the work gathering the financial information, and we submit it to him. So I just wanted you to know we've got that started. And we started on the prep for the annual meeting, our annual report. We met with a local entrepreneur that had ideas on marketing projects, etc. We have been approached by a committee that came out of the town hall about the idea of doing a pollinator garden at Blue Mountain Station. Did I visit the last meeting? I don't think I did.
No.
Okay. So the idea would be to, their idea is to try, there are these things called monarch way stations, monarch butterfly way stations in the US. A lot of the monarch butterflies, the habitat has been destroyed. The milkweed was a big thing that they used to,
What they like.
procreate. Yeah, well, and their little babies need it to procreate, and, a lot of that has been destroyed. So there are communities that are trying to put in habitat that would help them. I spoke with a wildlife manager here, the Wooten wildlife manager, and she said, we just haven't seen monarchs here, but that she said they just don't seem to come through much anymore, which is a problem, but we have lots of pollinators. So whether or not it was helping monarchs specifically or not, a pollinator garden would be a good thing. So I have met with this committee once, and Shane has met with them a couple times, and we have told them that they could use the Blue Mountain Station garden, the fenced garden area, to put in a pollinator garden. So they'll like put a path through it and do some other nice things, I guess. So I wanted you to know about that. We did use Port Resources. We're gonna use Port Resources to prepare the garden space for them. They have to do the planting and all that, but we'll have it prepared. And then we've used Port Resources to reconfigure the irrigation, because even though they are native plants, they do need to be irrigated, certainly when they're being established. But even after that, my wildlife biologist lady said that they do best when they get watered a few times a summer, just because it's so hot. So I wanted to let you know that, I am gonna meet with them next week to discuss maintenance. I think they need to maintain it. I'm not sure what you all think, but I think if they want to put it in, we're not pollinator garden experts,
Yeah.
so hopefully that'll be my discussion with them, that they help maintain it.
Unless they just want it mowed off, it's they probably ought to maintain it.
So, any questions or comments on that, I guess?
I was at that, at the town hall when that came up, and I had not. I mean, I remember monarch butterflies when I was little or whatever, and hadn't thought about it. It was amazing to me, absolutely amazing to me, that all the people that started talking about how, it is so cool, it is so neat, it is. I was like totally oblivious to it.
Mhm.
And so it really took off, and there was quite a few, I think they had, what, 6 people, 8 people?
Oh, no, it's even bigger now.
8
Yeah.
people, yeah,
We've
so
got a big
it was a
committee
big,
going.
it was a
Yeah.
big deal,
Mhm.
and they,
Mhm.
I think there's some thought, I mean, it really could be some great tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll do it other places too. I mean, that's what I did. It's not just here, is it? And they did ask to do it at a bigger part of Blue Mountain Station, and I suggested we just start with the garden.
Garden.
So we could see how it works before we,
See if they can make.
because I don't wanna rip stuff out, you know, if it's not gonna work, so. Anyway, yeah, they seem to have a lot of momentum and excited people,
It's huge.
so it's good.
Can they do at least one public facing class for people who want to add aspects of a pollinator garden to their own?
Sure, I'm
That's a
sure
really
they
good
would,
idea. They
yeah.
talked about, that's a really good idea.
I mean, that, I think there would be a lot of people who would like to be educated on how to make the contribution in their own yard.
Yeah, what could I plant that
Yeah.
would help them? All right,
Yeah, so I think, I mean, we're helping getting it set up, right?
Mhm.
So, and
Absolutely.
then they
Yeah.
help maintain it after that, so I think we both have skin in the game.
yeah,
Part of the process.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Okay, so on to the economy. We have lost, 4 businesses in the past 2 months, Pioneer West, Fiesta and Jalisco, now Ace and Cedar Rain. We definitely are feeling a downturn. Walla Walla is too, pretty dramatically. Theirs is, partly due to the wine industry, but they also have a lot of empty storefronts on Main Street. So I'm just telling you this, just so I've been through these many times in my career, unfortunately, but this is just something we're facing right now. Good news is, when Pioneer West closed, I had the idea of some local store taking up the, role of selling animal feed. And Shane went and talked to Dingles about it and talked to, I think, the Merc and I can't remember who else. And Dingles took the ball and ran with it, and they are now offering animal feed. So I thought that was phenomenal. Yep. They also have, really upgraded their fishing offerings. They have a whole wall now with more fishing tackle and bait, and they're asking the community what else they want. So just so exciting to have Dingles be not just
Active.
fading into the sunset with Mindy's death. So it's very exciting. And then, let's see, so I put in the packet, just so you could see our unemployment rate compared to our neighbors. It's not terrible, you guys. It's not, we were in the 4%, about 4.2, between 4.2 and 4.8 most of the last few years, which is considered full employment. If you have 4.2% unemployment, businesses are struggling to find workers. So ours has ticked up a bit, but I would give a lot of credit to that because of Bluewood not being open. We have a lot of seasonal employees here, people who like to work seasonally. But I noticed that Garfield County's ticked up as well, so I thought that was really interesting. We've been about the same, but it's still not bad if you look at the list of, compared to the state, we're
mid.
we're above middle,
Yeah.
so not terrible at all. And then Shane did go to a downtown workshop but Belinda was not able to go. And so he went to a downtown workshop and he typed up a really nice report about that workshop. So I shared that, and we'll share that with the task force, of course. It seems to be, task force members, it seems to be that they have a main focus of the year of the boards. So it seems like the Main Street Association is wanting our little groups to work on their boards or make sure their boards are trained or whatever it might be. So we might have to address that at our task force meeting. The SBDC, a gentleman that meets with our businesses all the time did tell me, he sent me a report about the job cuts from the last few months that were pretty severe. He'd heard me talking about it, and he said he just wanted to confirm your recent comments on the recession. He thinks that we're definitely experiencing a bit of a downturn. And then I did want to share the business leads. So we have a business lead document that we have in a shared folder that Shane and I, well, all of us can access, but Shane and I are the ones that access it the most. So I thought I would explain that to you just a little bit. The top section of it that says Port of Columbia leads, those are, businesses leads that came from, um, within the community or within the work that we've been doing. In other words, not a state lead, a lead that we've,
I think it's on the back of all of those.
oh, sorry.
Keep going. It's on the side.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to share that, the silver tsunami. I put that in there with all the businesses that are aging.
Aging,
Yeah, there's Shane he did this before he got sick, but he put this, document in. It's called the Silver Tsunami of Retiring Business Owners. So that's in your packet. It just shows how many, 70,000 businesses, 49% of the businesses in the state have owners age 55 or older. And in Columbia County, it's 76%.
not anymore.
So a little bit. It's typical, our country is aging. So the lead sheet, so this is, these are the top section of projects that Shane and I are working on that have to do with either recruitment, retention, expansion, or startups that we have been dealing with ourselves, was not a lead we got from the state. So we have Mainstem Malt on here, Project River Spark, which is now Billiken, you know the name of the company. I guess the KOA is a retention project because of we're building that RV pull-throughs so they can stay a KOA.
Yeah.
And retain their business. So that's a retention project. Project Clean Slate, you now know, is the Dayton Laundry and Dayton Quilt Shop. I give Shane all the credit for that one. He worked with that business owner and referred him to the SBDC, and together they've really, they've bought a downtown building and are putting in a business. Next one, Project Palette. This is also making progress. This is a business that Shane met with and then referred to Paul, and they have purchased a downtown building and are working on getting their business started. It's I think art related, and I think there'll be a couple of different, more service related activities in that business. And then, two ag related businesses, Project 410, which is a value-added ag project, and Project Sprout, which is regenerative ag. So those are all the hot or warm business leads that Shane and I are working on at this time. And then, the bottom section are the leads we get from the state of Washington. And they are pretty difficult. I brought the bigger sheet so I could answer your questions if you had any. But they are the criteria for these projects. We put in the right side column where it says POC met criteria. That means, can the Port of Columbia meet the criteria in these business leads? And you see how so many of them are no. If it says applied, that means that we submitted a proposal to the state for that business. And the bottom one where it says queried, that one, it didn't look like we met the qualifications, but we have asked them if they would consider our county, even though we didn't meet. There was some qualification we didn't meet. And I'll give you an example of what often happens is that they will say they are the business needs 100,000 square foot building. We don't have any 100,000 square foot buildings here. Or they'll say must be located within 5 minutes of I-5. We can't do that. And I have kind of poked at the state a little bit and told them that it's pretty disappointing how so few of their leads ever meet anything we could offer. And I think they listen, but I don't, until they really change their economic development strategy at the state level.
We have
It's not gonna
river,
change.
rail, and
Yeah.
road.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
But
a
we-
big deal.
but we
Within
don't
5
have,
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we just don't, but so often they're looking for buildings. But, also industrial land, we don't have a lot of industrial land here. You saw that I put that on the list of things to discuss.
Yeah.
It is the industrial zoned land we have. Heavy industrial is all out at Lions Ferry with no services, no water, no sewer, no nothing, and no power. There's no substation out there.
Yeah.
And then in town here, we've used up most of the industrial property. There is really nothing left. So,
We need to expand.
It
urban
needs to
growth
be-
area.
well, or we can't do that if we're not growing, but what we can do is redesignate the zoning within the urban growth area if we feel like that's necessary. So that is a discussion we could have. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you so you would know this is stuff we do and we just don't tell you. So I'm sorry if I don't tell you well enough. Always ask if you wonder what we're doing. But I just want to share that. So I think that's it for my staff report. Then the letter B, I just was thinking about, we have task force on here, and then I thought, all the boards and committees I serve on. So I listed some of them, which I forgot some, but I thought I'd just run through and tell you real quick what's going on with these. So the first one, Dayton Development Task Force, at the last meeting, we worked on a report that is required to be sent to the state each year. So we spent most of the meeting going through that report and helping Belinda put numbers in it. The next one, the Washington Economic Development Association, that one is definitely important. It is our conduit to the Department of Commerce. Shane and I both attend, they have virtual meetings twice a month. We both attend them when we can. We try to make sure if one of us can't, that the other one can, kind of trade off. Washington Economic Development Finance Authority, that's the one I mentioned earlier, that is the bond conduit funding agency for the state of Washington. Palouse Regional Transportation Planning Organization, that is a 4-county transportation planning group that the city has a representative, our county engineer attends. And I am currently the president of that organization. Just about done with my second year. So we'll see whether I have to continue being president or not, or if I can be done. But it's not hard. They have a great executive director. They only meet quarterly, so it's not a lot of my time for me to help that group out. Destination Leadership Team, that is the Visit Walla Walla group that is working on regional tourism. Shane and I both attended their annual meeting last Thursday because they always give their tourism numbers for the year at that meeting. So it's always interesting to see what's happening. Definitely tourism is down in Walla Walla. They're hoping that they've reached the bottom of the trough, but they've definitely seen a downturn. Let's see, Youth and Family Coalition, that is a group that Shane serves on, so I don't really have anything to report there. They work with students and mentoring and trying to help kids, keep kids from using drugs and alcohol. Horizons Post-Secondary Steering Committee, that is definitely a workforce development committee that Shane serves on. And then I forgot to put on that I'm the WPPA Environmental Committee chair, co-chair, which is crazy, but I am. And that also is not hard because the WPPA has an environmental employee and that person does most of the work, but I do attend their virtual meetings and I have gone to the conferences more because of being on the committee. It's kind of funny because I just don't feel like we do a whole lot of environmental work, the Port of Columbia, but I guess the good news is that I've been able to take things that are important to the east side of the state in front of this very Puget Sound centric group. And they have appreciated it. We've talked a lot about the Snake River dams and other water scarcity and things that really are affecting us that they don't think about.
Yeah,
Doesn't affect them. So
they worry about where their water goes, so it
Yeah.
doesn't flood.
So I don't know if you guys want me to keep these on here or just giving you an update once in a while or how much you care, but I just thought that's another one of these things I'm doing and I'm not telling you about it, so I thought I should let you know.
I would think if you have outstanding events at the board meetings, that you bring them back and just leave the board reports there as a
Okay.
placeholder.
Okay.
Would be my preference, and then if there is something,
Important to report.
then report.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
I did like this.
Oh, good.
yeah,
And because, all of this stuff is like, okay, yep, I know, we've been working on, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes you get lost in
Mhm.
where we're at, even though we have discussion and I'll write notes where we're at,
Mhm.
but having, even if it was like, what the progress where we're at on
Mhm.
some of, like a spreadsheet like to do.
Yeah.
It's pretty, actually, I kind of liked it.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
You want us to share that each month?
I kind of like that,
Okay.
it helps us, this is where we're at. I mean, I know we do the, where we're at here on stuff, on the agenda,
Mm-hmm.
but having a visual of that, this has been solidified, or this is the step we're in,
Yeah.
and just a quick reference guide for that. We figured out this, and this is what I don't want you to have to put a bunch of work into it. But if it's something but I looked at this and went, oh yeah, okay, cool, so.
No, I think that's not a lot of work.
Just
I
keep it
wrote,
up.
create a
Yeah.
column with a current status.
Yeah, kind of where we're at with it, and it's dropped off or completed, and then it can come off, and
Mhm.
Yeah,
kind of just an update thing,
Okay.
quick reference guide. Is super
Sure.
nice,
Okay,
so I thought thank you for that.
you're welcome. I just forget, I'm not always the best at,
share.
well, or yeah, because I live and breathe it, so I forget what other people don't know, you know?
And it helps us
Yeah.
when we're having conversations out in the
Yeah.
community, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because we go through it and say, hey, this is where we're at, and those type of things, those conversations, that helps us foster, hey,
You bet, that is,
we're moving and shaking
that
here.
is no problem, it's in the drive and we're working on it all the time anyway, so it is really not a burden at all to
Okay.
hear it.
All right, cool.
But we will add a column too about, something about current status.
Yeah,
I guess we have stage on here, but it doesn't have much in it.
Do we have any public comment? We have no public in the room, but do we have public on
There's a public, I recognize him.
Zoom? Anybody on Zoom have a comment? Anybody on Zoom have a comment? Hearing none. Well, unless there's any need for executive sessions. Hearing none. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah.
thank you.
thank you. And Shane, hopefully it's feeling better.
Oh,
Poor
you guys
guy.
is just so sick. He
Yeah.
hates missing